Hello, I'm Raymond Miranda.
Mark Palmer.
I'm Coach Rosa. I coach the soccer team, and I've been here 4 years.
Right.
So before we get to the real good stuff of the interview, I'm going to ask you a few basic questions to start off. Okay? Why did you, well, excuse me, let me say that. Why did you decide to become a soccer coach?
Why did I decide to be a soccer coach? Because it's a passion. I like soccer. I like the sport, and the opportunity was there, and they gave me an opportunity to stay and coach high school kids.
And will your son follow your footsteps?
In soccer? Yes. Hopefully, but I'm not going to push him. If he wants to play, he'll play. If he doesn't, he can choose something else.
Mr. Rosa, how do you handle like a loss in a soccer game?
A loss?
Yes.
I guess it really depends on the situation and what kind of loss. You know, the ones that your team fight hard for and you lose by a 1 goal, like our playoff year, those are harder to take than the ones that, obviously you get blown out or it's just a scrimmage, you're looking to basically get experience, but, in the playoffs, you're one and done, so it depends, but yeah. I usually, that's how my emotions, they would be far more like in my playoff game.
In coaching, like, for that loss, do you want your players to accept the loss, or do you just go past the loss and not really feel like the pain that comes with the loss?
Usually, in the sport for me, obviously it's not like losing. It's not life or death, right? So it's a sport, and it's part of an experience, and it's part of life, and it's something that you want to learn from. So again, one of my favorite quotes is, basically to paraphrase, it says, don't dwell. Basically, don't celebrate every victory, but kind of work on every sort of hurdle or loss, right? So if you lose, you want to kind of get over that, and that makes you grow more as opposed to celebrate every single victory, right? So yeah, it depends. Sometimes for a loss, a player that gives it all and they've given it everything. Yeah, they're gonna take a while. So I let them just not dwell on it too much, but at the same time, it is part of the process, right? So that's how usually I take it.
Well, it's real simple. You got 2 more quarters and that's it. Now, most of you have been playing this game for 10 years. And you got 2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again as long as you live. Now, you all have known me for a while, and for a long time now, you've been hearing me talk about being perfect. Well, I want you to understand something. To me, being perfect is not about that scoreboard out there. It's not about winning. It's about you and your relationship to yourself and your family and your friends. Being perfect is about being able to look your friends in the eye and know that you didn't let them down because you told them the truth. And that truth is that you did everything that you could. There wasn't one more thing that you could have done. Can you live in that moment as best you can with clear eyes and love in your heart? With joy in your heart. If you can do that, gentlemen, then you're perfect. I want you to take a moment and I want you to look each other in the eyes. I want you to put each other in your hearts forever, because forever is about to happen here in just a few minutes.
My name is Adrian Sandoval.
And behind the camera, Mark. Alright guys, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what does suffering mean to you? And what experience do you have with suffering?
My first experience with suffering was when I lost my grandma 2 years ago. She was schizophrenic and bipolar. And she suffered from mental disorders. She happened to pass away with a heart attack. The way what was it?
What does suffering mean to you?
Suffering means to me is just that it's just a next level of experience of like how of like basically a next level experience in life. How to go about it. It's like the way you respond to the suffering is the way that you go with it.
Adrian.
The experience of suffering that I had was when I was 13 years old and I got my first dog, but it died within the 2 months I had it. And I believe what suffering means, well, to me specifically, is that a series of events, usually painful to the person, but you learn from that pain, and then you gain knowledge, then you learn how to cope with it later on.
Wow, suffering is in all our lives. I didn't know that you two had gone through suffering in your lives. It's good to know. How do you cope with it? How do you move past it?
Me, I have a basic steps and rules that you understand like coping. First, you have to understand why you're suffering, and you gotta know the source of your suffering. You gotta accept that you're suffering, and once you accept that you're suffering, you got to just write it down, get all your feelings out, cry about it, do whatever you have to do. Don't try to be all big, bad, and hard about it, and just let it go. You can't hold on to it forever.
Mine is different from Samir. What he said is true, not to try to be big and just let it out, but also try talking with family and friends, to ask them for advice that they could give you, and just do things that you love to get your mind off that suffering, so you want to keep suffering for your entire life.
Yeah.
And the main point after suffering is to build a greater connection with God. Your connection with God should be even stronger than what it was before your suffering.
Final question, maybe the final question. Excuse me. Since you guys have gone through some suffering in your life, what would you tell somebody if they're going through a tough time in their life, suffering, or they lost somebody? What would you tell them?
Well, to me, it's kind of hard to tell someone that they're suffering because, like, you don't know what they're feeling exactly. So what you can do is to be there for them, and to listen to them, to vent, so you can have someone to vent to. You can't just be like, oh, it's just a stage in life, you'll get over it, or saying that it's just a next level. It's a learning experience. Like, that's not the best thing to say to someone who's suffering. The best thing to do is just to be there for them, try to give them advice. If they don't want it, still be there for them and just help them out. Try to get their mind off of it. And then, but all at the same time, pray with them, pray for them, and pray for their families, and be with them, and be a good friend.
For me, I would tell them that I would be there for them, but I wouldn't tell them anything, because the best thing to do is by listening to what they're going to tell you, because sometimes they don't need someone to tell them something more than you just listening is enough. And you have to tell them that God has a role in everyone's life. and I will pray for you.
Well, you guys both gave good answers. I couldn't agree with you guys more. And I want to thank you guys for showing up and taking the interview. And have a good day.